Hello, Pokemon trainers. Welcome to the King's Court. Okay, so this is actually kind of crazy. This is number 30 of what I like to call really quick. If you're a new viewer, thank you so much for clicking on this video. We really appreciate it. If you're a returning viewer, we also really appreciate that much. That just in general, thank you because we actually made it to number 30 of the Path to Power series. This is actually crazy. Feels just like yesterday. I was actually a little worried to start doing the series here because we didn't really have like a continuous series that got to this point, this far. So the fact we actually hit 30 is actually crazy. And lately, I've been doing pretty well on managing to stick to a schedule of making sure the weekend is when I upload these videos because there are times where life comes up and I miss a week and all that but basically these last few weeks have just been on point, and these have actually been some of my favorite videos to do so because again it's just a lot of fun trying to climb the online ladder right now, especially since we just started regulation I, and trying to figure out what really works and what doesn't work with Giratina. I think though next week I'm gonna try out a different team. I actually have an idea what I want to try out. But really quick, just like always, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell for more videos. Let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions for any teams you want to see me try out here on the channel. I'm open to suggestions, and that's pretty much everything. So, I'm actually going to switch out my Incineroar to go into Rillaboom right here, and my opponent's going to use Dazzling Gleam. I wanted to be careful here because, I've gone against Miraidon is everywhere right now. It's actually crazy. So I wanted to avoid getting, like, completely blown away by Miraidon. So I actually burnt it first to whittle it down, and that way Hex can do its double damage, which is going to come up later, actually. So they're going to get hurt by their burn, and so far they have the Miraidon and their... Man, I'm bad with names. Okay, I'm just gonna call it Paradox Delibird. We all know what it is. That thing is ice and water, and it's really good too. I've used it before, and it's a really good mon. So they're gonna switch out and gonna go into Koraidon. Koraidon is also like just on the come up lately. It's like everywhere right now. So I'm gonna have my Rillaboom flinch and fake out. I'm gonna go for the Hex because again I thought they were gonna stick with their Miraidon, but the Hex actually did do some pretty decent damage. Remember, I've said if, like I said, you're new to the channel, this is your first time clicking on one of our videos, this is a Giratina that I made that's more on the bulkier side. I have used other ones before that are more like offense based. Don't run like Calm Mind and Shadow Ball and stuff like that. This is more on the tankier build that I've been testing lately. The ultimate goal is to basically burn and basically weaken my opponent's team and just try to whittle them down to have my other Pokemon knock them out, basically. So that's actually what I'm doing right here. I managed to burn the Koraidon, which is really good because Koraidon are like a crazy offense physical Pokemon. So that's really going to be useful. So my Giratina is also going to gain some HP back thanks to its leftovers, thanks to the Grassy Mist right now. So I'm just going to protect because I want to avoid Giratina, taking too much extra damage right now, and to have him gain back some HP, which actually has helped out a lot before. Like sometimes because the double up from the HP gaining back from leftovers and the terrain actually really help out a lot because of how bulky Giratina is. So they're going to protect, and not much should happen right there. So, but again, leftovers is going to go off, and now Giratina is back at the green. All right, cool. And the bird is going to kick in for the Koraidon. So that's actually, I'm actually in a good position here. So I'm just going to go over the Grassy Glide, but they withdrew it. Makes sense. And they're going to send out their Iron Hands. So I'm just going to Grassy Glide and Iron Hands, and they're going to go for Flame Charge, which will level up their speed. Okay, that makes sense. I'm just gonna go over the Hex, and it knocks out. All right, cool. So far that's one Pokemon down. Um, I know they still have Miraidon, and I know they still have. Again, I'm really bad with names. The Delibird, the future shiny Delibird, because everything's Chrome in the future. So let's see. Speaking of which, we haven't gotten those the shiny versions of Miraidon and Koraidon yet. I really hope we get those soon. So they're gonna send out Maridon, and now that's gonna get rid of my terrain, but that's okay because their Pokemon is super close to being knocked out. So I'm thinking I'm just gonna go for Hex. I'm gonna switch out my Rillaboom. That way I can reset off the terrain, and also Incineroar will lower the physical power of the Iron Hands. So that's good for me. So we're gonna go for Fake Out. So we're gonna go use Fake Out on my Rillaboom. And oh man, that is some crazy bulk, man. And I'm gonna go for the Hex, and it actually takes care of the Maridon. Cool. So pretty much both of my opponent's big heavy hitters are gone. Both the Koridon and the Maridon are gone, and now they just have Iron Hands and the Delibird. again, again, I'm bad with names. Okay, cool. So let's. I'm in a pretty interesting position. I don't like to, really, say I have it yet until I know I do. Although I'm in a pretty safe space right here because, again, I'm just gonna fake out and just have Giratina just start knocking things out. So the fake out's gonna go hit the Iron Hands. They're gonna go for Hydro Pump on Incineroar. That's okay. Uh, Incineroar did his job, and I'm gonna have Giratina Pain Split because I just want to gain some HP back. And the leftovers will go off, and basically, since I know that Pokemon's using water moves and the other one has electric, I know neither of their Pokemon will really be able to knock out Giratina. So I'm just going to send out my Raging Bolt to take advantage of the electric terrain. So, and now special attack will be hiding, which is good for me. So I'm thinking I could just like go for a Hex and try to knock it out, and just go for like a Thunderclap to end the Delibird. So I'm gonna go for the Thunderclap. I don't know. I think I must have like. Oh yeah, I accidentally quickly hit the attack button on that one. I ended up attacking the Iron Hands. I don't know. I think it's because someone was calling me, so I had to hurry up and try to end this one because I wanted to answer the phone because I think it was my pops calling me. So that's why I messed up right there. My bad. But hey, it still worked because they ended up wild charging on my Giratinas and knocked themselves out. So it still worked, but I probably would have been better to use the Thunderclap on the Delibird because it would have been super effective, and that way my other Pokemon could have just taken care of the Iron Hands next turn. So they're gonna go for Protect, which is fine. I was gonna originally have Rillaboom fake out on their Pokemon, and just have Raging Bolt come in and Thunderbolt it away. But Protect. So, but just it's fine because I got double priority right here, so I pretty much got this right here. Yep. And that takes care of that one. All right, cool. So that's the first game, and I managed to get that one. All right, cool. And now we're gonna go into the second game. Let's see, which one was this again? Okay, yeah, I remember this one. So my opponent's gonna start out with Chiampao and the Calyrex Astral, the Ghost Rider, basically. I like to jokingly call it. So the Intimidate's gonna go off. It won't really do much to the Calyrex, but it will affect the Chiampao, which is really good because this thing can be uh, I don't want to say annoying because I really like using it too, but when it's against you, it's annoying. You know what I mean? Because it's so fast and it can hit so hard, and it has Sucker Punch too, which can also be a problem. So I'm thinking to myself, what would be the best move to go for? Because I know, okay, it protected, which is fine because I was gonna have my Incineroar fake it out anyway. So it pretty much, same results basically. So they're gonna go for the Astral Barrage, and good thing I didn't terrestrialize my Incineroar right here, and I'm just gonna go with Thunderbolt to try to get some big damage. So I'm thinking to myself, I could just like Thunderclap and try to hope that takes care of it, but I don't want to take the chance. So I'm just gonna, like I said, I'm basically just gonna do that, but I'm gonna terrestrialize as well because this way I don't have to worry about. I was really worried about the Chiampao using Sucker Punch, so I just terrestrialize into Fairy. That way the Sucker Punch won't be as bad. So let's see. Okay, so they're gonna withdraw their Calyrex and they're gonna send out Rillaboom. Okay, and the Grassy Surge is gonna go off, which now All right, and I'm gonna terrestrialize, like I said, into fairy. This way, if my opponent's Chien-Pao does use Sucker Punch, it won't be as bad. Especially since I'm using more of the kind of a more bulky sort of Raging Bolt because it survived that. That's crazy. And the Flare Blitz is going to go off, but I knew it was going to have the Sash because, Chien-Pao's really, really can't take a hit. So that's what I usually see with like the Focus Sash. And Citrus Berry is going to go off. So I'm in an interesting position here. I could just protect, is what I was really thinking to myself. So I decided just to do that, and also that way the terrain will give a little more HP back to my Raging Bolt. Now I'm just gonna parting shot on the Rillaboom. So, and my opponent ends up switching their Pokemon out too, which I guess they probably thought I was gonna use Thunderclap or something. As they're gonna go out into Zamazenta. So, like I said, I'm just gonna protect right here. They're gonna fake out on my on my Raging Bolt, and I'm just gonna parting shot right here. So this is good because it'll lower the physical attack of my opponent's Rillaboom. Okay, and I'm thinking I could just send out mine because I didn't want to take the chance of losing my Urshifu just yet. So I decided to go out into my Rillaboom. Let's see. So I'm thinking I could just like go for a Thunderbolt to try to start bringing down the Zamazenta because I was thinking if I don't take that thing out now, it's going to be a problem later. So I'm just going to fake out on the um I'm going to fake out the Zamazenta because I was worried about it sending up too many Iron Defense. And I'm just going to go out into my Incineroar. This will greatly lower the attack on both of them. And remember, the opponent's Rillaboom already took a parting shot, so its physical attack is low. And it hardly did anything to my Rillaboom, even using a super effective move like U-turn. So, makes sense they switched it out. So my opponent's going to send out Calyrex. So I got to be really careful because that Astral Barrage is no joke. So that thing can just knock Pokemon teams out quickly. I've done that before too, actually. So I'm thinking I could just like fake out the Zamazenta again, because like I said, I really didn't want to deal with freaking Iron Defense setups. So I'm just gonna do that and have my Rillaboom Grassy Glide because I know Calyrex aren't like the tankiest Pokemon, and that took care of it. All right, sweet. So far, so good. But that Zamazenta is really worrying me because if I don't take care of it soon, and I already used, I mean, both my Pokemon already used up their fake outs, so and unless I start switching them out, I gotta start going after that Zamazenta. So I'm thinking I just go for Flare Blitz, or I could just switch out because none of the moves really that they can use will be super effective on my Urshifu is what I was thinking to myself. So I'm just gonna switch out into my Urshifu and they're actually gonna protect, which again makes sense, and that really didn't do much. And the Flare Blitz will go off and it didn't do half, but it took a big chunk out of the HP. So another hit and maybe one more hit from like my Urshifu should take care of it. So I pretty much I'm in a really good position. So I'm just gonna go for another Flare Blitz and just go for Aqua Jet to take care of the Chien-Pao. So let's see. And okay, so I guess I pretty much had that one. All right, cool. So that's two games so far, and on to the third one. Okay. I guess it's because my opponent was thinking the Aqua Jet was just going to take care of the Chien-Pao, and the Flare Blitz would have just hit the Zamazenta, and I still had like one more my Rillaboom left, so it would have just finished it off anyway. So yeah, I pretty much had that one. So this team was interesting. This is an Eevee team, which uh, I've played against Eevee teams before, and I used to joke around saying these, but this team was actually not bad. So I'm not gonna lie, I low key underestimated Leafeon, like because I always see like Umbreon and Sylveon, obviously, but I haven't seen a lot of people try running Leafeon. So they're gonna set up the freaking Leech Seed, and I did manage to burn my opponent's Umbreon. So I'm in an okay position, but I need to start hitting the Leafeon, and I'm gonna regret not trying to go after it sooner. I remember this battle actually, so I'm gonna switch out into Rillaboom because grass. And from what I know, Leafeons don't really like. They have high physical power, but they don't have like any kind of crazy, like move sets. So the Flare Blitz will go off, and I honestly really did think that was going to kill in one hit. I didn't know how bulky Leafeon are. That's crazy, and it's actually unfortunately my own Rillaboom's ability is basically kind of screwing me over right here because they're just going to keep getting HP back because both these Pokemon are surprisingly super bulky. Like you wouldn't really think that just by looking at them, but no, Umbreon and Leafeon can take a hit. So luckily though, their offense isn't super crazy. Otherwise, that would just be messed up. So Fake Out's gonna go off, and I'm just gonna go for another Flare Blitz. But they're gonna T Wave my Rillaboom, and oh, man, I didn't even know that they could run that. I remember there used to be an old set with Umbreon where you would run like Toxic and stuff like that, but I haven't. But I didn't even know they could, learn T waves. So, dang. So Leech Seed is gonna go off, and the Leafeon's gonna gain some HP back. So this is interesting. I would have liked to have kept Giratina in the battle to burn the Leafeon, but it is what it is. So we're gonna switch out the Leafeon and go into Vaporeon. And they're gonna go for another Thunderwave, but luckily it missed. And I guess because they knew that Incineroar was gonna go for another Flare Blitz, so good on my opponent. That was a really good read. So, but the HP, I'm gonna gain HP back thanks to the Citrus Berry. And unfortunately, the paralysis kicked in. Dang, that actually would have been really helpful. And the lead seed again is gonna go off, and they're gonna gain HP. So it's almost like they didn't get hit at all. So yeah, not the best position right here, especially with my Rillaboom being paralyzed. That's honestly a real bummer. So we're going to switch out their Vaporeon and go into Leafeon. Even when, like, during the whole, I saw, like, a quick glimpse of my opponent's team, I knew they were going to have Sylveon here, so I knew I had to be careful, because I know Sylveons usually run, like, Choice Specs, Hyper Voice Pixelate to basically do spread damage. It's a lot stronger than Dazzling Gleam doing that, so I knew I had to hurry up and knock these Pokemon out quickly. But unfortunately now, my Urshifu is also paralyzed, so I'm not in the best position. So I'm going to withdraw Rillaboom just to get rid of the freaking Leech Seed. And I'm going to go on to Incineroar. Inner Focus, okay, but it will affect Leafeon, which is good because they're going to go for Leaf Blade. And I'm pretty sure if I didn't do that, that would have maybe. If the Intimidate didn't go off, I think the Leafeon might have been able to knock out my Urshifu, so thank goodness. So, okay, both of them actually took a pretty big hit, so both of them are within knockout range. It's basically what I was thinking to myself, so I gotta go for it. And the grass is these are okay, that's good. So I'm just gonna go over another. I'm just gonna go for Fake Out and go for Aqua Jet to knock out the Umbreon. Let's see. And my opponent is okay. Okay, so they're gonna withdraw their Leafeon. Again, same move as before. They right away thought I was gonna go for like Flare Blitz, but no, I'm gonna Fake Out and just have the Aqua Jet take care of the Umbreon. So okay, I knocked out the Umbreon, so I don't have to worry about any more of my opponent trying to paralyze any more of my Pokemon. So that's good. And I'm thinking I could just like I was thinking if I just like terrestrialize right here, Flare Blitz has high base power, and so does my Urshifu. I mean, not my Urshifu, my Incineroar. So I was thinking it doesn't need stab, so we'll knock it out. I terrestrialized right here because I knew that the Vaporeon I was gonna have to deal with it soon. So I didn't want to take the chance of my Incineroar being knocked out by like any water moves. And they're going to go over the acid armor, which could be a problem. So I'm going to go for Flare Blitz that takes care of the Leafeon. So far, that's two Pokemon down, and I already knew they were going to send out their Sylveon. Yeah, I already knew their last Pokemon was going to be Sylveon. It usually is on these kind of EV teams. So I'm thinking I could knock off and maybe like detect. But I was also thinking I need to start doing some damage to the Vaporeon. Because if I can like whittle it down enough, my Rillaboom could just come in and just take care of it. Is basically what I was thinking to myself. So I'm gonna go with the knockoff and get rid of the Solvus, and there goes the Hyper Voice Pixelate. So I'm gonna send out my Rillaboom. The problem though is he's still paralyzed, so hopefully that doesn't. I mean, I don't care that the other two will hit first, because they're not really running anything super effective that could really affect either of my Pokemon. So I was okay with that. So we're gonna terrestrialize into fire. Hmm. And I'm gonna go for the fake outs. And they're gonna go for their acid arm. Oh man, I gotta be careful. And I'm just gonna go over the knockoff. And took off the quick claw. Okay, that could have been annoying. Like they keep setting up their acid armors, and I think they also run Calm Mind, and just have quick claw. That could have been a problem. So good thing I took care of that now. So I'm thinking I could just go for like a knockoff or a parting shot. But at the same, what the heck was I doing? No, no, like sometimes I just button mash. Yeah, that was my bad. So I'm thinking, I could just go for like a high horsepower because it is fire now. So one hit should take care of it. So the Flare Blitz doesn't knock out my opponent's Pokemon, but it brings it into knockout range. Is basically what I was trying to go for. But unfortunately, the paralysis decided to kick in right there. So damn. So I'm thinking, okay, so I got Giratina left, which is fine because here's the thing. I haven't. Yeah, I'm thinking I could just have like protect in case you try to use Hyper Voice because if I can knock out the Sylveon, the Vaporeon has no super effective move at all against either of my Pokemon. So they're gonna go for that, and the high horsepower is gonna actually go off this time. All right, cool. So my Giratina is still at full health. Basically, I was thinking I could just pain split it. Like, yeah, I could just pain split my opponent's Vaporeon. Even though it's set up all those crazy acid armors. Okay, Rillaboom, unfortunately, that did happen. So I'm just going to pain split. Yeah, that was my bad. I miscalculated that. Let's go lower my Alright, this is what I was hoping for. Basically, I needed my Giratina to take some damage so I could pain split properly. Like, basically, the problem I had was Giratina was at full health. Like, for once, that was an issue. But luckily, the Hyper Voice brought down my Giratina to the point where Pain Split can now do some damage. But at the same time, I was thinking I gotta try to hit that thing with like Wood Hammer or something. So yeah, the Wood Hammer is gonna go off, but I gotta be careful because the paralysis could be a problem. So my Giratina is gonna gain a bunch of HP back, but also so will the Vaporeon. Thank goodness it didn't have like leftovers or Shell Bell. So, but the grass is gone now, so that's okay. Because I can just like Will O Wisp. It doesn't have anything that'll hit either of my Pokemon for super effective. It can, and plus, yeah, I can keep using Calm Mind, but at the same time, um, it can only get so high. So I'm going to the Wood Hammer, and Hex will do double damage. And they'll still take damage from the burn, and there's no more way for it to gain HP back. So I was basically thinking I could just keep doing this to whittle it down. And I guess my opponent figured that out too because they pretty much just canceled the game right there. So okay, that game was honestly crazy. Like I used to think it was just a joke when people tried like using full EV teams, but then again, I'm the guy trying to trying to climb online with Giratina, so I got no room to judge. But that was a really cool team. I liked that team actually a lot. So let me know what you thought of these battles in the comments. If you have any suggestions for any other Pokemon, any other teams you want to see, I actually have an idea for a new team I want to try out next week. So if you want to see that, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and just have a great week. Take care. Bye.